I'm going to show you before footage from the day before the competition, and almost all of you are going to say, yep, you're a natural athlete. It's impressive, but I believe you did this natural. Then I'm going to show you the footage one day later with the tan and all oiled up before GTA 3, and you're going to say, nope, you are a liar. You're a snake oil salesman. Wrong! Coach Greg, in today's video, we're going to go over some lost footage, and 40% of you approximately, you're going to say I'm a fake natty. And you're going to say, nope, you are a liar. You're a snake oil salesman. All you do is lie and you yap, and there's no way you did that natural. And so let's start with the day before.
Okay, here we are on Friday morning, 9:30, 172 pounds.
Friday morning, 172 pounds. The day before the competition, I'm posing in my girlfriend at the time's closet. Don't ask me why.
Haven't drank water for now, it's been 8 hours. It was 179 when I went to bed. I'd say I'm at my all-time best right now.
And so you hear me. I'm at my all-time best right now. I went to bed. I was water loading. I went to bed. I was 179 pounds. I stopped drinking water for 8 hours. Now I'm 172 pounds. Lost 7 pounds overnight. I'm just starting the dehydration methods. And so I'm 172 pounds, carb depleted. There's no muscle glycogen. And so my muscles are what we like to call flat. Notice my physique right now. And remember in the previous video, that was from 5 years before this. 5 years before, I was 160 pounds. And I'm saying at my all-time best, and you're thinking, Noah, I think you look better 5 years ago. Not even close. I'm telling you, wait till you see how I looked in one day following this.
Just wanted to get a few posts. I haven't eaten carbs yesterday. Haven't been cramping or anything yet. No carbs. Can almost compete without carbs and look just as good or better. All-time best condition definitely right now.
All-time best condition definitely right now. I'm saying maybe I'd look better without even carbing up. I'm starting to see the details. But remember, I'm not tanned up, I'm not oiled up, and I'm not under the perfect lighting. This is in fact a natty or not, and I want you to notice a few things. Do you notice any gyno? Any puffiness around the nipples? Do you see any acne? Do you see any signs of somebody using performance-enhancing drugs aside from having a shit ton of muscle? You can calculate your fat-free mass index. Oh, you're 5'6", 172 pounds. Your fat-free mass index is above 25, and so there's no way you're natural. That's a man-made formula that makes absolutely no sense, and it doesn't account for anything. And so again, you can notice that I'm strong in the obliques, very lean on the obliques. I do have some separation in the thighs, some glute striations, but in comparison, my lower body is perhaps not even as lean as Coach Greg right now in my studio. This is in 2006. This is 18 years ago. I'm perhaps 30 years of age. I'm 48 now, but I'm on HRT. But I do, in fact, race bikes, and so my legs are always training harder than last time. And so as you're comparing this physique from 2006, which physique do you think is better? You're seeing me right now. I weighed 189 pounds this morning. Currently, I'm 193 pounds. I ate breakfast. And so I'm 20 pounds heavier right now than I am here. And so at first glance, I'm thinking, this ain't all that impressive. I think I could beat this physique right now today. 18 years older, I'm lifting weights 3 days a week maximum, and I think I could beat this guy. But wait till you see the changes they make in one single day. Now remember, my abs did appear to be better back then. This is prior to me having hernia surgery, getting older and so on, prior to abusing steroids. Once I started to abuse steroids, my gut, it began to grow bigger. My stomach, not nearly as snatched as it was back then.
174 and a half, all ripped up and tanned up. Ready to go weigh in.
I'm now 173 pounds. I've eaten a carb meal and I'm slightly tan. And so notice I'm beginning to transform, starting to look a little bit better.
Best shape ever for sure.
And so notice I'm saying best shape I've ever been for sure. Remember, bodybuilding is a journey. Every show, you want to be better than your last. 5 years ago, you saw I was 160 pounds. I'm clearly over now 170 pounds. And so the last 5 years, I put on perhaps 3 pounds of muscle per year. Not sure exactly, but let's call it 15 pounds of muscle, 3 pounds per year. That's 15 pounds in 5 years. And you're thinking, no, anyone can gain 15 pounds in a year. If you have great genetics, you're gaining 15 pounds of muscle in a year. elite level genetics. You're going to debate me. I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying I was fortunate, and because I was fortunate, had great genetics, I was able to put on this much muscle. Are you starting to see the changes? Starting to look a little bit better. No gyno, no acne, and for those of you saying, oh, if you're on steroids, your traps and your delts going to be huge. Clearly, I don't have overdeveloped traps and or shoulders, not that it actually means anything, because I'm telling you, when I went on steroids, a lot of the muscle that I did in fact put on was on my back, as well as in my thighs, hamstrings, and so on. And in particular, my legs got a lot leaner.
174.5.
174.5 pounds, now carved up 2.5 pounds. I'm going to go to bed eventually. I'm going to sleep, pee out some water weight, and the next day, wait till you see the difference. And so you can see, remember, it's old footage, not particularly the best. There is going to be far better footage shortly, but you can see I have the tight waist, the obliques showing, the arms, biceps, and so on. Great symmetry. There's balance in the body, top to bottom, front to back. In this competition, we also have 2 future IFBB pros, of which I'm competing against. In the light heavyweight, we had Mike Lins, and in the heavyweight division, we had Mike Johnson, 2 future IFBB pros. Clearly, I had my work cut out for me, and remember, 172 pounds, I am a middleweight.
He was first in the lightweight class in the 2000 drug-tested world qualifier. He was first in the 2000 Canadians and first in the welterweight division in Musclemania, Canada. Please welcome Greg Doucette.
Walking out onto the stage, 172 pounds, going in the middleweight division, doing my famous bye routine, hands on hip most muscular, and you can see the abdominals, the pecs, the striations, the biceps. And so you can see in comparison to 2001, 5 years later, I've clearly put on a lot of size. The legs in particular, they're not quite as lean as I would like to see them. For me at this time, this was my best ever conditioning. But since that time, I'd actually made a lot of improvements. So going through the posing, going through one pose to the next, trying to flow through each pose, as well as including some artistic posing. Now remember, this is before classic physique. In this condition, I'm literally 20 pounds below the weight cap as an IFBB pro. As much muscle as you see right here, I'd still need to add on 20 pounds of muscle and get significantly leaner if I were to want to compete at the top level as a classic physique competitor. And this was a very competitive battle. 3 guys at the top in the middleweight division. In many other competitions, perhaps any of these guys would have won the overall.
And in first place, your men's light middleweight champion, competitor number 1, Greg Doucette.
And so notice the difference in one day. This is still not the best lighting. I have far better footage to show you in just a minute. But you can see the chest detail, the fullness, the abs, the conditioning. And so there you have it, winning the overall in a non-tested bodybuilding competition as a natural athlete. And so it is in fact possible. Now, of course, at the national level or competing for an IFBB Pro card, it's not the same. But at a smaller show, without the best competitors in the entire country battling for a pro card, you can do extremely well while being 100% natural. Mike Johnson literally won the heavyweight division, and he was 202 pounds, approximately 5 foot 10 inches tall. And here comes Mike Johnson, another natural athlete. You're thinking there's no way he could be natural. This man went on to become an amazing IFBB pro. If you have elite level genetics, this is what you're going to look like when you're natural. Now, of course, when you add in performance-enhancing drugs, you're going to put on a lot more muscle. That is the type of physique that's going to become an IFBB pro. Coach Greg versus Mike Johnson, 2 future IFBB pros. As you can see, he has me on the size. Bigger legs, he's taller, wider shoulders, and so on. I believe I edged him out in the detail. More conditioning, slightly leaner, and that made the difference. Very close battle, you could see. Very easily could have gone to Mike Johnson, but on this day, the judges rewarded it to me.
Ladies and gentlemen, your overall winner, senior men's, Greg Doucette.
Mike, an incredible back, was known for his back, and so it's all on the lighting. My back not looking too shabby. Mike's very massive. He's not under the best lighting, but trust me, as an IFBB pro, that was his strong point. Mike weighing over 200 pounds, myself in the 170s. I'm much older than him, I believe about 8 years. And here we are on stage, Mike on the right, Dan Fowler next to him, a top national level bodybuilder, as well as classic physique competitor. You'll see the difference between Dan Fowler now. He has tattoos everywhere. And so this is going back old school. And from the rear, as you can see, Dan Fowler's hamstrings, they're popping out. My hamstrings, not as detailed as they once were. As you can see, my hamstrings need to be flexed. Come on, Coach Greg, flex the hamstrings. Lat spread. Difficult angle, but you can see very close. It could go to almost anyone. And from the front, the obliques, I believe, are helping me, as well as the balance symmetry from top to bottom and front to back. Perhaps slightly out-edging Mike Johnson in definition. Dan Fowler, a little bit taller, needs to fill out his frame a little bit more, with the remaining competitors a bit too small to battle it out for the overall. Remember, this is a combination of size, symmetry, shape, and conditioning. Pose down time, coming to the front of the stage, going through as many poses as humanly possible. The abdominal pose, strong for me, showing off the obliques, and of course, the chest, the arms, great development, as well as the quads, perhaps from years of bike riding. And so you can see, natural physiques can look very impressive. Perhaps not as much size, but do you really need all that size? I would argue that most people would be in favor of the physique size that I myself had here, as well as Mike Johnson, in comparison to ourselves as even IFBB pros. Mike went on to put on well over 20 pounds of muscle, as well as myself. I argue, is bigger automatically better? And so now, actual quality lighting. And so notice the difference that the lighting makes. And in comparison to one day before, remember, this is in one day. And so are you going to say, oh, you clearly hopped on in one day, made that much difference? You took tren the night before the competition, and that's why you made all these changes. It's not. It's a good pump, lighting, carbs, and that's the difference. Notice the conditioning of the abdominals, the symmetry, the fullness of the chest, the detail. However, you see less conditioning in the lower half, the legs, the quads in particular. They're not as shredded as you would expect. And from the rear, notice all the bumps, the crevices, the detail. The Christmas tree. Getting into the lat spread, the small waist, the wide shoulders, the hamstrings. Could be leaner in the legs, but upper body definitely on point. This is 21 years of training. Training since I was 10 years of age. And many of those years I was training as a triathlete, doing 20 hours of cardio a week. As I got older, I said, I want to be a bodybuilder. I put everything into it. I stopped doing all the cardio, stopped the running and so on, eventually even stopped cycling, and continued to make improvements. The improvements did in fact slow down, but as I learned more about my body, learned more about how to train effectively, I continued to make improvements. And all the while bodybuilding, I continued to be a powerlifter, was setting powerlifting records and so on. Side chest, the arms, the chest, everything looking on point. And so many of you are going to be thinking, well, if you look like that natural, why would you ever want to use steroids? I wanted to turn pro. Back then, they did not give IFBB pro cards for winning the drug-tested Canadian Nationals, of which I have done. No pro cards. You win the overall, nothing is given to you. There was no classic physique. There was not even a 212 category. There was open bodybuilding, and that's it. I wanted to get a pro card. Almost every competition that I enter, I would come out on top. As a natural athlete, I was beating people who were on steroids. And so I knew, if I eventually take steroids, I'm going to be pretty good. I'm pretty good natural, and so with steroids, of course, I'm going to get that much better. And most muscular, showing off the arms, the chest, the abs, front double biceps bigger than last time, trying to show some aesthetics looking like the Z's pose, and the quads, although they had muscle, there weren't the cross striations. And from the rear, calves are somewhat developed, but I'm not seeing crazy striations. The glutes could have more detail as well as the hamstrings. Here I am feeling the hamstrings. They're there, but not as pronounced as they should be. Relaxed pose, one of my weaknesses. I had a cycling accident when I was younger, and so the right shoulder about 1 inch lower than the left. On stage, remember, this is approximately 1 or 2 weeks later. In my area, we had a provincial bodybuilding championships, and a week or two later, they had the Atlantics championships, and so you would compete back to back. And so I'm competing on stage, 3 guys guys competing against each other. As a judge critiquing my former self on stage from 18 years ago, I'm thinking, this guy's got great shape, great muscle bellies. He's balanced from top to bottom, front to back, but he could be leaner in the lower half. Today's standards, bodybuilding have continued to improve. And so what was lean in 2006, competing in today, they'd say, hey, bro, you need to dry out. You need to come in a bit leaner. Looking like I look here, yeah, you can compete in bodybuilding, but the majority of people would say you would belong in classic physique. And remember, I'm far below the weight class limit. And so imagine getting even leaner, perhaps 5 pounds leaner, and adding on all of that muscle. As an IFBB pro, I could compete almost 20 pounds bigger than this. And so imagine being 20 pounds bigger and leaner. And so do you now know why I say that classic physique, the weight categories are in fact too high? I would much prefer to see another category 20 pounds lighter. Do you all think that this is not enough muscle? If you could get this physique, would you not be satisfied? Would you not be happy with that? Imagine if the Olympia added another category with classic physique, but with 20-pound lower weight classes. Imagine how many people could stop abusing performance-enhancing drugs, chasing the size at all costs. And we know that using and abusing steroids is not healthy. And so imagine having a lower weight class. Would that not allow people to use less steroids than last time? Perhaps even maybe do it 100% natural? And again, the backstage footage is better than last time. Remember, you need great lighting and a proper camera. This is 2006. This is before proper cell phones. And so let's examine my physique when pumped up, oiled up, and more tan than last time. And so imagine if Mike Israetel had a tan like this. Clearly, Mike would be a pro. Remember, we're the exact same height. I'm weighing about 172 pounds. Mike Israetel on stage, 216 pounds. I'm in fact about 40 pounds lighter than Mike, but I do believe that this physique, perhaps, possibly, maybe, might even beat Mike Israetel on stage. Flexing the quads, the detail, the separation, still not as lean as I'd like to be, but look at the symmetry. Let's see Andrew Eubanks do that pose. Now remember, this is before the vacuum pose. No one was hitting vacuums, but I did in fact have great abdominals. The quads not cross-striated, turning to the rear, focus on the glutes. I don't see glute striations. I'm not even seeing hardly any hamstrings, but yet it's still an impressive physique. Relaxing the glutes. Look at the back, the small waist, the Christmas tree, the bumps, the grooves, the crevices, the wide shoulders. That is what a back should look like if you're a bodybuilding competitor. And from the front, let's see the chest, the striations and the abs, in particular the obliques. Hands on hips, most muscular. Looking for cross striations across the pecs. The side chest pose, look at the obliques, the pecs, the arms. I'm glazing myself before GTA 6. And so remember the start of the video when I said, hey, this is a physique, it's not all that impressive. I could perhaps beat that physique right now? I don't think so. Look at this physique, natural, from 18 years in the past. And so those of you thinking you need to have steroids to look good. How many years have you been training? Been training 3 years? 5? A measly 10? Try training for 20. But no, I want my physique today. Are you willing to put in the work? You know how hard I trained for this? 20 straight years, never taking a week off. But you want to take steroids and you're a teenager. Your brain hasn't even finished developing. But I need to take tren. I need to take peptides. Heaven forbid I do it while being natural. No one could get a great physique while training natural, right? Wrong! The triceps more developed than last time. Very good development in the obliques, the abdominals. It's all about having that tight waist. Makes the illusion of having more size. Remember, I'm only 172 pounds. And the tight close-up on the abs. Is that not an impressive physique? But Coach Greg, he just yaps. He's all about drama. He doesn't know anything. What could he possibly know? He doesn't have a PhD. My master's in kinesiology. Highest GPA in all of my classes. Won the university medal. Was a Dean's List scholar throughout my career. But no, I don't know how to train. I don't know how to diet. But yet I've written multiple books, including cookbooks, a circle diet book, training books. How to diet and keep the weight off. What should you actually be doing? With my secrets from over 30 years. All the training secrets, the dieting secrets, and so on. The best recipes in the world. Easy to make. I am not a culinary chef. You should see the French toast I made this morning. It tastes amazing, may not look it, but it's superb. It's splendid. Supreme work. And so if you ate like Coach Greg, if you knew the secrets that I have, it would be far easier for you. You do not have to suffer eating chicken, broccoli, and rice. Do you think I did this show just eating chicken, broccoli, and rice? Of course not. My dieting secrets had already begun. I had low-calorie apple crisp. I had muffins that were low in calories. I had the low-calorie pancakes and French toast, everything. And it only continues to get better over time. This was accomplished without even Turk Builder and or GO2 Max. Imagine if I had this. I had to raw dog training back then. There was no condiments. There was no Gee's low-calorie barbecue sauce. I was putting on salt and pepper. Was lucky to get Mrs. Dash. And so what's your excuse? It's 2024. You can get GO2 Max for improved cardio, Turk Builder, help you train harder than last time, build more muscle, and you can get my friggin' cookbook and Circle Diet book. And so you know how much easier it is for you to achieve your dream physique? Now remember, since this time, eventually I went and resorted to using performance-enhancing drugs. I wanted my IPB Pro Carb. I made videos on this showing the before and after transformation. My physique before using steroids in comparison to my physique after. I abused steroids for 10 years, but since that time, I'm on HRT. And of course, I do in fact regret the decisions I once made. Imagine if I had remained natural all this time, had this physique to show for. Would you not all have been impressed? Would you not have been satisfied? And so, of course, people are going to say, yeah, but if you hadn't have done this and hadn't have done that, you wouldn't have been famous. I don't know if that's true. Who knows? Did you all start following me because I'm an IFBB pro? Because I could bench press over 500 pounds? Or do you not follow me because I sound like the parrot from Aladdin? Do you not follow me because I'm a manlet? How I perhaps identify as a comedian while explaining to you various ways to train, diet, and so on? Do I not make my videos entertaining? And so whether or not you would have followed me if I hadn't have used steroids, maybe, maybe not. I don't know this, but what I do know is I do not like the thought of taking years off of my life just to have more muscles than last time. And remember, more muscles didn't make me happier. What makes me happy is chasing excellence, trying to be the best version of myself. And so whether it was running, swimming, biking, doing triathlons, or powerlifting, setting Guinness World Records, bench press records, and so on, or bodybuilding, chasing an IFBB Pro card, or now racing on Zwift on a bike, practicar hablas español, practicing Spanish. I'm trying to better myself, reading more books than last time. Stopped watching TV. And so what I recommend for you is to you all chase your passion. But if that passion involves doing something that's not healthy, then please think twice. If you're below the age of 25 and considering using performance-enhancing drugs, please reconsider. Wait until you're older, if ever, and never, ever break the law, and only use performance-enhancing drugs with the advice and consent from your doctor. And so let me know in the comment section, do you think it's possible to achieve this physique while being natural? If you have amazing genetics and you put in the work for not years, but perhaps decades, is it possible? Or do you believe you have to use test, trend, SARMs, peptides, and so on? What makes you happy is improving, getting better, being your best self. But even with steroids, eventually those gains, they come to an end. Even when I used steroids, yeah, it was fun. I put on more muscle. I got bigger. But then I had to use even more steroids. And eventually I couldn't add anymore. It wouldn't work. And so I had to come off. Lucky for me, I found cycling yet again. I found reading books and I also learned a new language. But if it's not for that, many people, they have a hard time coming off. Oftentimes people shorten their life, they'll die younger. All for what? To get more muscles? And so in order to truly be happy, you have to practice what's known as gratitude. You have to be happy on what you've accomplished. It has to become intrinsic. You can't just be happy through external validation, external factors, and so on. It has to come from within. And so when I reflect back and think of, wow, look at what I have done, I'm happy. I don't need to buy any more cars. I don't need to make any more money. I don't need more followers. I don't need you to say this or to say that. I'm already happy. It comes from within. Oftentimes people who have millions of followers, millions of dollars and so on, they're not truly happy. First, they were happy. Wow, 10,000 views on a video. Then it's 100,000 views. Perhaps it's 1 million. But eventually the views don't keep going up. The views perhaps start to go down. You're thinking, what did I do wrong? I'm not happy anymore. I'm not getting the dopamine rush that I once had. You need to practice gratitude, and this applies to everyone, not just for people who are rich, millionaires, and so on. It applies to everyone. And so please practice gratitude. Be happy for what you have. It could be far worse. Subscribe, click the bell button, comment to boost the algorithm. Please like the video if you in fact liked it. Why am I even shirtless right now? If you're interested in getting harder than last time clothing like the tank tops, hoodies, t-shirts, jogging pants, and so on, get over to my website, code Greg, 15% off. Watch one of the tube loops and of course the cookbooks, the training books, the coaching plans by me and my team. All of it on the website. If you got no money, I got free diet and training programs. Got you covered. It's close to 50 pages. Multiple different plans because they're customized depending on your own individual needs. Don't say I didn't do anything for you. Pick up the free diet and training program on the website. And until next time, I am out.